What's up, live stream? How you guys doing? Drop a message in the comments there. Let us know you can hear us. Give it a minute. Let people join up.
Let people log in.
All right.
It's really laggy.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, the popularity of these platforms, I think we have a lot of people competing for bandwidth today.
Yeah, I think so. Facebook just didn't want to play nice today.
Facebook was out of the question. And YouTube looks okay, but it's lagging.
A little bit of lag in the stream, but I think we're all right. Can you guys hear us? Drop a comment. Let us know you can hear us.
Okay, well, we got somebody saying he can hear us. John, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, great. Thank you, Boyd.
Awesome. All right, my name's Walt. I am the new digital marketing manager here at Arc Audio. This live stream thing is going to be something that we're going to try to do a little bit more if we can. Live Q&A. So this is your chance to ask us questions, regardless of what the question's about, whether it's about the products, whether it's about installation, whatever it may be. This is your chance to get some of those questions answered. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat, and we'll do the best we can to answer all of them. I did get a couple of questions on Instagram prior to the stream, so we're going to start with that. That first question came from the Sound Demon on Instagram. He's asking, what happened to the 4000 SE amp? And with me today is Brad, CEO, and let's see if we can answer that question for you. So what happened, Brad? What happened to that 4000 SE?
The 4000 SE, interesting amplifier. It was never intended to be anything but an exercise in engineering. We built them in very limited numbers. It was a limited edition. If you needed a 4,000 watt pure sound quality amplifier with triple digit distortion numbers and huge dampening factor, that was your only go-to.
So to be clear, it wasn't like a standard like
No,
4000 like what you see out there, the other high wattage amplifiers. This was something special.
It was our signature edition amplifier. It typically produced 0.005% distortion at 4,000 watts at 1 ohm with damping factors over 1,000. It was incredible. It was the best 4,000 watt SQ amplifier on the planet. It was the only 4,000 watt SQ monoblock on the planet.
So what would you use something like that for? I mean, realistically.
Realistically, yeah. See, that's where things get interesting. It was a fantastic amplifier. It sounds amazing. I guess if you needed enormous amounts of headroom, that would be your go-to. It did sound, when you compared it with other monoblocks of that size that were available, nothing compared to it the way it sounded. It just sounded very different. It sounded very correct. It was fully regulated, so when you put it in the car and you hooked it up to batteries, it actually worked. You actually did get the 4,000 watts as advertised. You didn't have to build some ridiculous electrical system to make it work. That was kind of a benefit. The reality is it was a limited edition, and it took us a long time to sell through them all.
So not super popular, really. That's probably why it phased out.
You know, much like me, it was kind of hard to find the right person who wanted or needed that amplifier. They were a beast. They were very much, you know, one-off. Each one was one-off built, had a lot of hand craftsmanship in them. They were big, they were dangerous. If you touched the wrong spot inside, it definitely ruined your day.
I bet 4,000 watts coming through.
The high voltage rails, it was a 3-rail class GH, if anybody has read up on our GH technology. It was a 3-rail class GH, and the high voltage rails were plus and minus 100 volts DC. So if you licked your fingertips and touched the wrong spot on the board, you got hit by 200 volts DC.
Not a fun time.
The little skull and lightning bolts in there were not a joke.
Right on. So, what do you think the chances are of something like that ever coming back?
Certainly we would do it if there was enough demand.
What would, to give perspective here, what did that amplifier cost retail, the original?
That was a $3,000 retail amplifier.
So no joke. I mean, that was...
No joke. If you need 4,000 plus watts, I can sell it to you today for a fraction of that. Just buy a couple of our X2 2500s. Awesome amplifier in its own. So, you know, getting those power numbers in a great sounding amplifier is certainly not impossible. That particular one, hitting all of those numbers was a real challenge. The output devices, they used Sanken output devices. They were made in Japan. There was a bunch of hand matching to them, and it used 24 of them in each amplifier. If you had an amp that had 4 of them per channel, it would be ridiculously big. So it was just totally over the top.
So from our conversation earlier, just to let everybody know, there is kind of an updated version that's in development, but isn't necessarily going to get produced unless there's a demand for it.
So there were 10 versions, different prototypes made of that particular amplifier, and it went to production at Rev 10. We have a Rev 11 on paper. We just never built it. There just hasn't been the demand. You see these things pop up on eBay, used every once in a while. We still fix them. We still service them. You know, the supply is out there. But if there was enough demand, we certainly could pop them out. I won't say piece of cake. The boards were huge. Special equipment to produce a board that big, but we could do it.
Right on, right on. So, I guess the gist of all that is, those of you that might want that 4,000 watts, the only way you're going to get it is to let us know that you want it. Maybe we can start a list. I mean, if you're really interested in it, give us a call. We'll get you on the list. If we get enough interest in it, then who knows? Maybe we'll produce it again. So for the Sound Demon, there's your answer. Richard, what is Richard saying here?
I love the DSP training videos. Yeah, we're going to do more of those.
We are, yeah. We're going to be doing a lot more how-to and training type videos as the year progresses. Granted, the whole shelter-in-place orders have kind of caused a delay in a lot of what we had planned. So we are doing best we can to continue producing the content, the social media content that we've been dealing, that you guys have seen in the past couple of weeks, as well as the videos. And we want to do more videos. We want to do more how-to videos. We want to do tech tips. I mean, stuff that we know that could help you. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, we'll be doing more of that. Does anybody else have a question? Drop it in the chat there.
I would like to say from a DSP training standpoint, pick up the phone, call our number. A real person will answer, and we'll walk you through whatever you need.
Every time. We're happy to help. I mean, hands down, have some of the best techs probably in the industry, most knowledgeable people that if one doesn't necessarily know the answer to it, there is somebody in-house that does know the answer and can get you the answer one way or another. We can help you out.
Hopefully in the future we'll do a lot more videos as your time permits.
And we will be doing more if we ever get back to shows, being that they've all been canceled for at least the next couple months. We will be doing some live streaming from the shows themselves as well to show you guys. I mean, some of you can't necessarily come out to the shows, so if you can't come out to the show, we will be live streaming from the show, showing you some of the stuff that we've got going on out there. We also want to do, if we're going to do product releases, that'll be done on a live basis so that we can introduce it to you, we can tell you about it, show you why you should get something, whether it's a new speaker, what makes it better, whether it's a new amplifier, what the purpose is of it. The iData was one that we had talked about potentially doing that with, but it just didn't line up with the time frame. So that just came out in a video. Did we discontinue the Black Series subwoofers?
The 12, yes, because we're out. We've got plenty of 10s. The Black Series will be updated to an RS to match the RS drivers. Be some changes made to it. Things the engineers wanted to get in and play with before.
Anything you can touch on there and give a little preview?
So the current Black Series sub uses a unique voice coil material. It's not an aluminum voice coil. It is sintered fiberglass. And it's really cool, but it doesn't particularly cool well. So going to a black anodized aluminum former will help power handling significantly for that sub. Other than that, it's hard to find anything to complain about. That sub sounds amazing. It plays deep, even in small boxes. It does everything that it should do. Everything that a sub would want it to do. You know, I'd like to comment on the black. It's actually a lot more forgiving than people think. Yeah, most people assume that it's a small box SQ woofer and that's all it will do. Put it in a big ported box. All of our woofers are designed to work in a ported box. I say all of them. I guess the SW12 probably
I was
is.
going to say the SW probably wouldn't work so well in it.
Although, I may be wrong, we haven't tried it yet. We'll have to bust out the saw eventually and make a ported box and see what it does.
There you go. Maybe that would be a video that we can do live and we can figure that out together.
Hey, one of you guys with a table saw, crank out a box and we'll try the SW12 in a ported application and see what it does. You don't know until you try it.
How does the Black Series compare to the SW Series?
The black to the SW, boy, they are.
I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, being that the SW is more of a slim package versus the big sub.
It is, but more than that, they were engineered by two very different engineers. The Black Series was engineered in Denmark. The guys from Danasia did it. Amazing sounding subwoofer. The SW was done here in the United States. And it just has a very different sound. It has a lot more attack. It has a lot more punch. It's just technically a very different sounding subwoofer. Still very detailed. You know, the trick with a subwoofer is geometry, and there's no compromises in the geometry on the SW12. The cone angles are really weird, but they're correct, and it all works. Yeah, it makes for a slim sub that doesn't sound like a slim sub.
I was going to say, I had a chance not too long ago, a few weeks back, went down to Drive Customs. Some of you may have seen the videos from that. The sound that those can put out just blew me away for how small of a package you're dealing with and how much bass you can pump out of it. It really was impressive. Looks like we got another question here. Any talk of bringing production back to the U.S.? Well, that's kind of a difficult nut to crack there, and there's several reasons. I'll let Brad discuss that a little bit more.
Well, right now everybody's closed. We do some production in the U.S. The PS8 was done in the U.S. Actually doing the production in the U.S., we do an enormous amount of work here. The real problem is the way the laws are written and being able to use that, made in the USA statement. To be completely honest with you, they don't make enough of those parts in the U.S. to be able to do that anymore. Nobody makes resistors and capacitors and transformers in the U.S. All of that stuff has to be sourced from someplace else.
Right.
We just don't have the manufacturers making it.
And on that same note, I know that we really care about the quality of our products, and we want to make sure that the components that we're using are that high quality standard, and not a lesser quality just to bring something back. So whether we're getting stuff, I know we're sourcing parts from all over the world, from Indonesia, right?
Indonesia, China, parts come from everywhere.
Right.
We have some of our semiconductors are coming from Silicon Valley, right here in California. We've got transformers coming from wherever they make fresh, because we use virgin iron cores. So Argentina or Europe, a little bit here in the U.S. The parts just come from everywhere. We do tend to source our circuit boards from China because that's where the computer industry went. And we use a lot of multi-layer circuit boards. They're not just, they're printed on both sides. There's 4 layers inside of some of these. And that technology really has, all of the equipment, all the expertise was exported to China decades ago. And if you want a good quality circuit board, that's probably where it's going to come from. There's a reason why your 8-layer sound cards are made over in China. They have the equipment and the expertise and staff to do it.
So I hope that answered that question. I know it's not an answer necessarily that is cut and dry, but I hope that brings a little bit of clarity to it. Next question is recommendation on how to connect the iPhone directly to the PS8 Pro.
I'm the wrong guy to ask. I'm an Android guy. I don't do Apple. Coming over from the engineering side, we're all a bunch of Android guys. There's a lot of different ways to do it. We do have a Bluetooth module coming that is a very high quality, great sounding piece. But really, any of the solutions that get digital audio or digital video with audio out of the phone can be converted to just an audio signal. HDMI, for example. There's tons of little boxes that just capture HDMI output and give you the audio out in an analog or digital format. Run it across SPDIF and plug it in. It's doable. It's not
So
as easy as plugging in a headphone jack, but
right,
it's
might
doable.
not be the easiest solution, but there's options out there. Richard, no problem. Happy to answer that.
I will say the PS8 Pro has got enough options as far as input goes. Its voltage ranges are huge. It handles from 0.5 volts to 32 volts of input. Plus it's got digital in. If you can create an analog or a digital input, you should be able to plug it into that thing.
Very good. So, guys, if you have any questions at all, again, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. Something I did want to bring up, because I think it's actually a really cool kit that we offer that doesn't necessarily get enough publicity, I don't think, is the impact kits. And I know we're kind of changing that up a little bit for the new one that's coming out, and or the structure of it. But maybe you can talk a little bit about what the impact kit is and who it's for.
Well, the impact is over on the motorcycle side. And I don't know if we've got anybody here that's doing the Harley scene. But they are a we actually get out and get our hands dirty. We tear the bikes apart. We do fitment before we go to production. We know what fits. We've been doing this since, well, forever.
So let's backtrack a little
2002.
bit. What is the impact kit?
The impact kit is a box full of everything that you need to put an amplifier with speakers integrated into the stock radio on your Harley. It's got the wiring, it's got detailed instructions, it's got everything but the tools and the patience. The average guy can tear their bike apart and actually make this work.
And it's, guys, I filmed, and we're going to be releasing in the next few weeks, hopefully the next few weeks, an installation video. It's an installation how-to on how to install the M-Pack into a Street Glide, brand new 2020 Street Glide. It was very straightforward and very easy. And honestly, if you have any mechanical ability at all, even the slightest little bit, you could take care of this. It's not hard. But the sound difference before and after was huge, absolutely tremendous. So that impact kit, I know we're changing it up a little bit. We've got quite a few now. What's the plans for the future?
Well, right now we have a bunch of SKUs, and really most of them are unnecessary. We're going to simplify things, sort of blend a couple of kits together. So you'll have a 2014 and newer, a Rushmore series kit, and then older kit for the 2013s and older. And that'll be it. You'll have your choice of, we have the compression loaded horn drivers for the bikes now too. So you'll have your choice of traditional drivers or compression loaded horns, and then the year split for the different models, and simple.
Now, there was a video, some of you may have seen it, that we shared it as our story. One of our customers had shared it with us, their bike that they put the impact kit in. And he starts off with his phone, he turns on the radio and listening to it, and he starts walking backwards. And he gets about a block and a half away, and you can still hear the thing clear as day as if you're next to it. Again, the quality of that audio. Can you explain a little bit on how that works?
Sure.
Because that just blew me away.
RC, we're going to get back to you in a couple of minutes. It's about power, to be honest with you. If you give an engineer a number, they can hit it. In this case, we know how much power the stock radio makes. We have mic'd a helmet and driven down the road, and we know what the noise floor of a bike at highway speed looks like with a set of Reinhardt pipes. We know what it looks like. We know what it sounds like. After that, it's just engineering. And they've filled a box with power, and we built some speakers that would tolerate it. And that's what it takes to work at 70 miles an hour. I got Richard here asking,
yeah.
Excellent question about flashing. And flashing is a huge subject. So in the early days of the Rushmore bike, bear in mind that there is an EQ curve built into that radio that you cannot defeat. It's there, it's attuned to make their speakers sound good. They didn't really pay attention to how good the stock speaker sounded because they were going to correct it with their internal DSP. Great.
So is this something where our PSM would come in?
It is. Early on, you could take your bike down to Harley and say, hey, can you change the flash? Put the hot flash to have was the 2 amplifier, 8 speaker flash. Yes, Harley would do it for you. They charge you a little bit of money, they would flash the bike, they'd send you down the road, and it got rid of the stock EQ, and the bike actually sounded pretty good. Some years back, Harley changed their dealer program, and they no longer have that option. If their computer doesn't see those amplifiers on the bike, on the CAN bus, it just grays it out, and it won't let them show up as an option. Now, there are some aftermarket tuners that still allow you to flash your bike, but a lot of Harley dealers will, anytime you take it in for any kind of service, oil change, anything, they'll update the software on your bike, and they will end up ruining your flash. So unless you want to reflash the bike every time you take it back to Harley, you're pretty much out of options. We produce the PSM. PSM's a little tiny black box of magic. It's actually a sophisticated DSP targeted at the motorcycle market. Useful in the car audio market, but targeted at the motorcycle market. It has a counter tune already in it. You don't have to flash your bike. You put the PSM on it, you hook everything up. The counter tune's already loaded. You turn it on, you drive down the road.
So basically, in layman's terms, it just plugs in between the amplifier and the head unit.
And the head unit,
basically.
and just untunes the head unit.
So there you go. Get the PSM, then you won't have to deal with the issues of flashing the bike. The next question came from RS Series 8-inch mid-base. Are we going to offer one? Do you have plans to offer one in the future?
You know, we've played around with a black series 8-inch. And there, at the time, wasn't really the demand in the market. Now, if you look at OEM systems today, there is it used to be, you know, 4 6.5s was pretty common, or maybe you had 6x9s in the back. And now having a car with a set of 2-inch Twizzlers on top of the dashboard and either 6x9s or 8-inch in the doors is super common. They're everywhere. If we can drum up enough demand for it, damn right we'll build it.
So there you go. Again, it comes down to a demand thing. If you're interested, guys, if any of you are interested in the RS series and the 8-inch mid-base, let us know. Give us a call. Let us know. We'll take your information down. Again, we'll make a list, and if we get enough interest, yeah, we'll start pumping that out. John asked, what about an 8x2 mid-base?
X2, I assume he's talking about the X2 series mid-base driver, an 8-inch X2 series.
There you go.
I'll see why not. Again, it's about demand.
All comes down to demand. So let us know if you want it. Anybody watching us, you want it, let us know. Give us a call, drop a comment down there.
Daniel, about the tribute to Bob. You know, Bob was a great guy. I really miss Bob. That tribute, you're talking about the tribute on the 720 circuit board, was never really intended for the public to see. Those of Silver Engineering did that. We've done it before. Messages like that have been tucked into manuals. We don't print very many manuals anymore, so we've started tucking them away in corners of circuit boards. There was a tribute to Bill McKinley in the PSA Pro, actually.
I can't say
You know,
that-
nobody can tell me not to do it, so I tuck that sort of stuff in there.
I can't say that I ever met Bob, but I can say that from what I have seen in the industry, he touched a lot of people. So I thought that was actually a really cool thing that you were able to get done.
He was one of those authentically nice guys. He really was.
Well, cheers to Bob.
He was missed. Yeah, it was 2017. That was a rough year. We lost Bill McKinley, Bob Morrow. We lost Robin. We lost, I think, a total of 5 people that year. It was a rough year.
RC, thanks for answering. No problem. Happy to answer questions, guys. Again, any other questions? Let us know. This is your chance to get them answered, regardless of what they are. So I guess the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit is the PS850, because that seems like a really cool amplifier and DSP combo.
That was obviously engineered to fit under a seat because it's the right height and it's all about cooling and it's not about cosmetics. But it is an awesome little piece. You know, we have a great relationship with at least the audio department at Infineon, and the part they supplied us for that thing was just so cool. I mean, I could fit 4 of them on my thumbnail, and 100 watts a channel, piece of cake. It's a remarkable little part, and it's that kind of not just part, but our willingness to push that part that makes those kinds of things possible. And we stacked the most powerful DSP that we could on top of it. It's a great little piece. Fred was just playing his out in his edge, and
Yeah.
holy crap, it gets the job done.
Yeah.
You know, nothing else. Stock drivers, that amplifier.
And if
Sounds
you
amazing.
want to check out that Ford Flex and what we're talking about there, you can actually go back to that iData video. The installation of the PSE 50 is in there, so you can see how that went together. It's actually pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but it upgraded that sound system, that factory sound system, without changing any of the head unit or anything like that, in conjunction with that idea. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. Looks like we've got another question here. Any SPL style subwoofers in the works?
No. To be honest, nobody here really has any experience with the SPL market. From an amplification standpoint, give me some numbers and we can build it, but none of us really have a
Explain for
great
those
deal-
that are watching that don't know, what's SPL?
SPL, actually, it started out as just being loud going down the street. It has turned into a very sophisticated marketplace, a very sophisticated set of products. Woofers that are tuned with an FS to operate right at the sweet spot for a given vehicle. Not just any vehicle, but, oh, I'm using this vehicle, and I know that it loves this frequency, and the woofers are built to that, and the box is tuned to that. And it's not something that we have ever ventured into.
So there you go. At this point in time, no, but you never know with what the future might hold there.
Any of our woofers, if you want more volume out of them, put them in a reasonable sized ported box. They'll go boom.
Let's see, will there be an 8+ channel version of the DSP Pro?
Too early to say. The demand is out there for it, certainly. Engineering, it's in review right now. We use our parts to the limit, including that DSP, and squeezing more channels out of it without compromising the sampling rate that project's running at. It's a challenge. We're looking at how to do that. We've got some ideas, we've got some plans. It's a question of getting the math done and making sure that we have the mix, we have the speed in the DSP to get it done. If the DSP can't do the math, then it just doesn't happen. But yeah, we're working on some things.
So short answer, it's in the works. When will it be released? Can't say. It's too early. But keep an eye out for it. You never know. Next question was.
I would have a question for how many channels do you need?
No?
Well, we'll keep an eye out for it here in the comments. But yeah, how many channels would you need? Is the SE amp the only amp in the line with a regulated power supply? Currently, yes, it is the only regulated amplifier that we make. Regulation is cool. I love regulation. There's places where it makes an enormous amount of sense, and there's places where it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to put it in a Class D amplifier. The Signature Edition is a very hard biased Class AB amplifier, and adding regulation to it just makes it that much better.
Hawk just chimed in. He says 12 channels is what he's looking for.
Noted.
12 channels. That's a lot. Let's see. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Brad, was there anything else you wanted to let them know about? Should we let them know about the idea we were talking about earlier? Or should we keep that quiet for now?
So all of you that know me know that I've got the memory of a goldfish.
The DK's idea. Let's put it that way.
Oh, well, we've talked about that. The hot rod kit.
The hot rod kit.
We
Yeah.
might go down that road. We have the MPAC kits, and they're really intended to be a direct-to-consumer kit. You buy the box, you sit down for the weekend, and you put this thing into your bike. We're considering doing something similar for the hot rod market. This is an undersold market. I know a gentleman that had a Riddler car. It was one of the grade 8 cars. It wasn't a Riddler, but it was in the running. And it has no stereo. And I don't think that year anything that was up for the Riddler had a stereo. It was really kind of shocking. And even he will admit that it was just short-sighted. He was, yeah, I mean, audio and cars go hand in hand. First radio was put in the car back in the early 1920s.
Right.
You know, when you're driving a car, you should have a soundtrack.
Right.
So yeah, we're talking about busting into that.
And I know.
See what happens there.
What we were talking about earlier is the ability to add it to the car, basically be a kit that has everything you need, and be able to connect it to your phone, and not necessarily have to have a head unit.
Head units are, and somebody touched on it here earlier, asking about how to get an iPhone into a PSA Pro. You know, with any Bluetooth module, you're done. All of that stuff is hidden behind panels. You hop into your car, your phone connects, you hit play, you're down the road.
So for a reasonable price, you would get everything you needed to add sound to a vehicle that didn't necessarily have sound to begin with, or you don't necessarily want to change the head unit. Maybe you want to keep it looking original. So this would allow you to hide everything and still get that premium sound. So keep an eye out for that. That's something that we're working on. It'll probably be a little bit before something comes together, but it'll be cool when it's done. Were there any more questions, guys? Will there be an SW10?
Yep. Simple as that.
Short answer.
You know, as soon as everybody gets their doors opened up and their lights back on, we'll get back to work on it.
Do you have a timeline on the Bluetooth module on a PS8 Pro?
All the engineering is done, all the files are done, we just can't find anybody open to actually produce it. So as soon as somebody can get their doors open, we can crank it out. It's coming.
There you go.
That will be a cool little piece. It's actually a standalone module that our existing Bluetooth radio goes into. It's got digital output, it's got analog output. The analog output has like 4 volts of out. It's a serious little piece, and we use an awesome radio in those things. It's a Blue Giga. I don't mind bragging. We use a good part. Blue Giga made it. It's the WT32i. It's an amazing sounding radio. We sampled dozens of radios before we picked that one out. It's twice the size of any of the other Bluetooth chips, and it sounds phenomenal. And when you pair it with a good output, it's killer. It's standalone. You could use it anywhere, but it is also set up. Network cable, plug it right into the PS8 Pro, hooks up and done.
Awesome. Julian Riddy says, hi, Brad.
Julian, how's it going? Julian does a lot of he helps us out enormously with software testing and stuff. Julian's been a huge help, huge asset of the company.
I know I had a question earlier on Instagram about apparel. Are we planning on doing any type of shirts or anything, shirts, jackets, hats in the near future that people can buy? It sounds like some people are interested.
We used to have it on the website. Come and go as far as how it moves, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, we almost always have something floating around here in the building. So yeah, maybe we'll do if people like our logo that much, we'll do a full line of ARC Apparel.
There you go. We should do that. We should do that.
I didn't wear my plaid shirt today because, frankly, because I don't like it. But but it's a cool shirt. So if you guys like the plaid shirts, let us know.
Hit or miss. Hit or miss. All right. Any plans on auto room correction like, I don't know how to pronounce it, D-Rack Live?
If you're familiar with Room EQ Wizard, we are working on a file import system so that you can measure your room with Roo and then import that file and it will generate a counter tune. That's in the works right now.
There you go.
It's kind of nice to have a file that is portable instead of having to go back and resample the car over and over again. You know, you measure it once and you're done.
There you
Particularly helpful if you happen to have another one of those cars come in and you just say, done.
go. Right. Richard asked, do the motorcycle speakers have a water repellent coating?
They don't need it. All of our motorcycle speakers are 100% synthetic materials. If you're talking about the Moto series, the cone is fiberglass over a foam product called Roacell. The tweeter dome is titanium. There's nothing in there that water can hurt. Dump it into a bucket of water, pull it back out, shake it out, and play it. It'll work. They are sealed on the front, mostly so that if you have them in the lids of your bags, they don't leak into the bags and make your coat wet. But there's nothing that water can hurt there. On the horn driver, I've done this demonstration multiple
I
times.
was
Where
gonna
I'll
say,
set
I
it on
think
the
I've
table
seen a video where we poured the water in the horn driver.
and pour the water right down the horn driver, and there's a hydromorphic fabric down in that horn that just will not pass water. Pass the sound just fine, but the weave is small enough that water won't go through it. And yeah, it'll just sit there for hours.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, short answer, doesn't need it, but it's not going to be an issue. Last question, I think we're going to wrap this up. Will the RS series subs be coming in the near future?
I'm not sure what the timeline is on the RS series subs, mostly because engineering and manufacturing is spread out all over the world, and until the world is opened back up, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything from France, from Frank. I don't know how Denmark is doing. Indonesia has got their own sets of problems. So until the world is opened back up, all of our development plans are kind of on question mark. Coming, yes. Date, you know.
Well, there you go, guys. Appreciate you joining the stream. If you liked it, you want to see more, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, go ahead and smash the dislike button there, but drop a comment below to let us know what you didn't like, or maybe what you want to see more of. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, hit the bell notification, it lets you know when we go live. We are going to do this more, so keep an eye out for it. We are happy to answer the questions.
I think we hit everybody. I'm looking back up through the questions.
Yeah,
I don't see where we
I
missed
think we got
anything.
it all.
But if you do have any questions or you think of something later, emails.
Yep, you can email us. What's the email?
It's on our website. You can email me directly, brad@arcaudio.com.
There you go.
And
Or
you
call
know,
us. I mean, again, if you have a question, we're always here to help. You can call us. You can email us. You can drop us a message on Facebook and Messenger. We've got that up and running now. You can always message us directly on Instagram or drop a comment below. We'll be happy to check in on these and answer any questions you might have. Again, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And we will catch you next time.